What's going on, guys? Welcome to House Edge episode 3. This is for week 3 of college football, right? It's week 3 already and week 2 of
Yeah, we're
NFL.
great.
Oh, man. As always, to start it off, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have the Twitter, the TikTok in the description. You can join the Discord to see our plays. I make a lot of live plays as the games are going on, and I post them immediately in the Discord, so if you want to check them out there. Discord's the best way. How you doing, Rob?
Feeling good, man. It was a great game, great set of NFL games this weekend. Next week we can get to add back in, soccer with Champions League coming up. We got Premier League, NBA, WNBA finals. Playoffs is also starting tomorrow. So
Tomorrow.
we're
Wow.
in full swing with the NFL with the sports calendar.
Yeah. When does baseball playoffs start? That's pretty soon too,
October,
isn't
right?
it?
Yeah, I think they're
October 3rd. Yeah, that's a couple weeks out, but still like 2 weeks away.
Yeah. Then we're gonna get the NBA at the end of October.
Oh my, that's the prime time when we have all the sports going. I can't wait to make an NBA, NFL, college football, MLB, NHL parlay on the same day. All right, we had a pretty notable weekend in the NFL. First off is Brock Purdy the guy, because he showed up. He was throwing dimes.
Yeah, man. He really made me. That Steelers pick. He really made me eat my words for that. And now it's just, is he the guy? Is he the guy? Because that offense is so good. It's loaded with Debo, and Christian McCaffrey, and then they have a great defense. And is Brock Purdy?
Brandon
just good
Ayuk
enough?
pops off out of nowhere.
2 tutties,
But can we talk about how god awful the Steelers looked? Like, they could not get anything done. I saw a quote today from, is Trent Williams the left tackle for the 49ers? He came out and he said, I felt bad. I wanted the Steelers to score so we could get off the field sometimes. He was getting gassed.
ridiculous.
So sad, man.
It really had me thinking with these lines this week, like, are the 49ers that good, or did we see the Steelers regress?
I think we saw the Steelers regress, but the 49ers are good, man. That defense is for real. If Brock Purdy can get the ball to the receivers, that's the only flaw that we saw in the team. So, I could see them making a Super Bowl run if this guy can keep delivering the ball.
Yeah. If just go out there and beat Joe Flacco. Maybe he doesn't put up a high statistical number, but he's also leading in a lot of statistics.
Yeah.
He has #1 in QBR. I think he's tied with TD to interception ratio, tied for second. So
Just quietly killing it.
Time to reevaluate Brock Purdy, maybe.
Sunday night, the Giants meltdown against the Cowboys. What do you think that showed more of? The Giants being just complete and absolute trash, or the Cowboys for real? My Super Bowl pick.
I think the Cowboys are definitely for real, but I don't think the Giants are that bad.
I don't think so either. It was a rain game.
I think something just didn't click that day, and that led to 40-0. You would think that they could put up at least a field goal, but
dude, sometimes when you're playing in miserable conditions, and I'm talking just it's pouring rain the entire game, you're already down, what was it, like 20-0 by halftime, right?
Yeah, you just can't get any.
You don't have the
energy
motivation.
back in. Yeah, no motivation.
Like, the rain's just bogging you down. I know that feeling playing sports in college, high school. It's that rain really takes the energy out of you. Like, it takes that extra whatever you got out of you. Anyway, we'll see how they do this week. Who are the Giants playing this week? I already forgot.
They're playing the Cardinals.
Cardinals. I think they'll get a free win. And that Cardinals under is looking good. 4.5 games. They lost to the Commanders.
When you get embarrassed 40-0 at a primetime slot, the next week of practice is going to be precise. So I think
Yeah.
they'll beat the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Wasn't too sure about the line. It opened up at 4.5 and moved to 6. I was leaning it at 4.5 at 6, and as a stay away.
Yeah. Speaking of primetime games, Aaron Rodgers Monday night. What a tragedy for Jets fans. They waited all this time for a franchise quarterback. They hyped him up so much. They talked all this shit in the offseason. They had Aaron Rodgers come out running the American flag in between all his teammates with a spotlight on him to get hurt in 4 plays. It's truly sad.
Yeah, my first reaction to seeing the play was Jets over 9.5. Donation station. It's done. Like they can't.
Yeah.
There's no way that team can win 10 games with Zach Wilson as a starter, all 17.
With Zach Wilson as a starter, yes. However, do you see? I could see the Jets based on that performance and them winning that game, going for broke and getting a quarterback to replace Aaron Rodgers for this season.
I guess it's just a question of who do you get. I'm watching, like talk show radios in the mornings, and they're talking about Carson Wentz. I mean, that's definitely an upgrade from Zach Wilson.
Yeah, you just need someone who can deliver the football sometimes. That team is good. That defense is real.
Brees Hall is amazing. 2 carries he had. After 2 carries, he had like 110 yards or something. It was just wild.
Good fantasy pickup for me. Moving on next, the Bengals. What in the world the entire time I was watching that, it felt like somebody was stabbing my eyes, dude. It was crazy. And the only way to make it stop was to finish watching the game. So sad, man.
That one was a big surprise, but man, when you look over at that defense, they got a great secondary that matches up well with your wide receiver trio. And Joe Burrow did miss the entire preseason.
He looked shaky.
So
he looked real shaky. I mean, Myles Garrett probably scared the living shit out of him, right? He was practicing crossover moves in front of our center and then beating him in 2 steps. Like it was embarrassing, dude. That was one of the worst games I've seen as a Bengals fan in recent history. I mean, we always play the Browns like this, though. I don't know why. We always lose one terribly to the Browns every year.
Yeah, and that offensive line, you told me that's fixed.
It's not fixed. It did not look fixed. Orlando Brown could not protect. Straight up. He was getting destroyed by that Cleveland defensive line. They have work to do. Whatever. We'll see. They usually figure it out by the end of the season. Yeah, they've lost 4 of their last 5 openers.
Huh. That's a trend that would have been good to know.
Yeah.
Last week.
I found that out. The announcer said it during the game. I was like, damn, why didn't you tell me that before the game? And another team that fell completely flat, the Vikings, man, losing to Baker. Dude, I told you Baker Mayfield first game. The guy just went 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Pretty trash completion percentage, but beat the Vikings.
I was lost for words. I mean, the offense did show a little. Jordan Addison did score a touchdown on a long Kirk Cousins TD pass. But they just could not get stops on Baker Mayfield in that second half.
Mm-hmm.
It was like he went back to Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
He was just making plays.
Oh, yeah. That was honestly hard to watch. I took the Vikings -5 once it dropped to that line. I saw it drop to even -4.5 before the game started. We should have seen that line movement as maybe some information that the Buccaneers might get something done, but win some, you lose some.
Yeah, but I also think that's another game that I think would just be a little fluky. I wouldn't take the Vikings +7 over the Eagles, but they should bounce back in this, 2 weeks from now after losing to the Eagles.
Yeah. All All right, let's move on to college football. Colorado, man, continuing to roll, right? I mean, you gotta think this team has something going, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have the
Dion.
stars.
It's crazy. Even with this roster, where he just basically just picked in any transfer that was ready and available, he's still making it work. Um, it's going to be crazy to see him next year after the whole year of recruiting.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
the transfer portal has been very important in college football. Look at Florida State. I'm pretty sure they utilize the transfer portal a lot this offseason, and honestly, they look like the best team in the country right now. If you had me, I have to bet on a team to win the championship based on the first few games. I'm going Florida State, maybe Georgia, just because it's Georgia.
yeah, Georgia just looks like a train. But we haven't seen them against any
Real
real
competition. Yeah.
competition yet. So it's going to be good to see them once the SEC play starts. But Florida State has looked really good. That quarterback Travis, what was I can't remember his last name, but
He's
he's been
good.
playing phenomenal. Uh, yeah, they got a great running game with Trey Benson. Defense still makes they're making plays on third and fourth down still.
Mm-hmm.
So I would also pick them. They're surely the favorites in the ACC right now.
Not by too much, too. In the ACC, I think they're still plus money. I think I'm going to be taking uh, Florida State to win the ACC as soon as we're done talking here, because I can't believe they're still plus money considering how Clemson fell flat in their first game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're worried about UNC, but UNC didn't look good last week against Appalachian State. Overtime game against the FCS. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Florida State has Duke at home, and they have their yearly Florida game, which I'm not too worried about that. They got Miami at home as well. They just play Clemson away in a couple weeks, and if they win that, dude, I think it's easy skating to an ACC championship. Just beat
yeah,
Clemson in 2 weeks.
I don't disagree.
We'll get that in definitely when we're done talking here. Next, big game this week. We only had one big game. It was Texas and Alabama. We both had Alabama -7. Texas swung that by 17 points, man. They beat Bama at home by 10.
Yeah, man, I was really shocked by the play of Ewers. He looks like a different player this year.
Yeah.
Um, so didn't factor that one in.
Yeah,
And
and
Texas also on that defense really slowed down Alabama. Uh,
the Bama quarterback as well was his name Milton. He
yeah,
did not look ready for the big game. Too many mistakes. I mean, he can make it happen with his feet always. Like, he's fast as hell, and he can get you yards when you need it, but the air game just wasn't there. He wasn't making the right reads.
yeah, Texas brought that pressure. And then they showed us even without Bijan Robinson, they still have a great offense.
Oh yeah.
Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver, definitely going to be a first round pick in the NFL.
Yep. I really liked Malachi Moore on Alabama too. He was making plays on defense. I think he's going to be a high draft pick. Yeah, the theme was big favorites in college. They just continue to win, right? We saw Florida State roll, we saw Michigan roll, we saw Ohio State roll, we saw Penn State roll. Just easy wins. And I think this week we have some more interesting games on the slate.
Yeah, especially one that's big coming up is Minnesota versus UNC. I thought about picking that line, but I'm just not sure based on who Minnesota's played if their defense is really that solid or if they just played a couple cupcake games.
Yep. I actually am taking that bet for one of my college plays. We'll see if that defense holds up. But yeah, next in the news, first match of Champions League, September 19th. Rob, who you got winning it this year?
I'm going with Bayern Munich. They went and got Harry Kane out of that striker that they finally needed to their squad. I think yeah, Bayern. Um, Next up, I would say maybe Real Madrid, but they don't have a striker.
Mm-hmm.
They really need to go get someone.
There were talks that Mbappe was going to go there for a bit, but I don't think that panned out, right?
Yeah, I think he's going to stay at PSG. I think they're going to throw another humongous bag his way.
Yeah, they're just going to get bounced out in the quarterfinals every year. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, they still
Yeah.
didn't fix their defense. They got rid of Neymar and Messi. You would think they would go and spend it on the defense or maybe some midfield players, but they bring in more
More
wingers.
attackers. They just like to see
Like
people
you're not gonna
scoring, I
get
guess.
better than Neymar and Messi.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that was your problem.
Right. Right. I also have Bayern winning it this year. I mean, we don't have much to go off of club wise. Liverpool looks good, but did they even make the Champions League this year? I don't think they did, right?
That'd be in Europa.
They're winning the Europa. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be pretty easy for Liverpool. They're kind of a class above everybody else, I think, in that league.
Unless they come against Sevilla, the Euro League
Yeah.
champion.
Oh, they just the EuroLeague dominators.
All right, so let's recap our week. We went 4-4 on our NFL plays. That was really spearheaded by you, Burke, going 4-1 on NFL last week. We were also 4-1 on college football plays, with each of us having one loss. And it was the same loss in
Bama.
Alabama.
Yep. Let us down. I don't think I'm going to bet. Well, I actually might tail you on the Bama bet this week. South Florida looks like a really, really bad team.
Absolutely.
But anyway, moving into our plays for the week, we have one common play this week. It's your Colts, Rob, -1 versus the Texans. I mean, Anthony Richardson showed that he's the best quarterback out of this year's draft, right? Last week. So far?
I'm not willing. So far. Yes, so far. I'm not willing to go overall.
So
I don't
far.
want to get too excited. But he was really good. He was more than expected. He's definitely a guy that can just go out and get a play.
Most NFL ready.
I still think that's Bryce. I'm a Bryce fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I still think it's Bryce, even though he didn't look particularly good last week. But yeah, he just anytime we needed a play, he was ready to scramble out of the pocket and get that first down.
Mm-hmm.
He does need to learn how to slide.
Yes, too many hits.
Athletic. Yeah, he left the game in that last drive. I think they said it was his knee, but there's no damage or anything. I think it was mostly just precautionary.
Yeah, he'll be playing.
But definitely don't want to see him out on any floors like that again.
Yeah, and the other side of this bet, it's just the fate of CJ Stroud and the Texans, right? I mean, they were trash last year. I know they picked up CJ Stroud with that first pick of the draft, but their problems didn't just stop at quarterback, right? This team has a lot of rebuilding to do.
This team needs wide receivers, linemen. Yeah, it's a complete rebuild.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Colts I think we're a little bit further ahead than them, even though we don't have Jonathan Taylor. Our offensive line is still one of the best in the league. So Colts -1, I'll take that.
Yep. All right, and then my next play on the board, I have the Dolphins -2 against the Patriots. The Dolphins, they came out swinging against the Chargers last week. I mean, that Tyreek Tua connection. Tyreek looks. I saw one Twitter video of a Tyreek route where he kind of ran a wheel route. You know, his motion before the snap, he kind of ran behind the quarterback and used that momentum into starting his route. There's not a person in the world that can guard him on that route. He is going to get open in the middle of the field every time, and it's just an easy pitch and catch from Tua. Every time, as long as he's protected.
I was watching it was one play, they were in the red zone and he hit a slant route and I was like, he's just so fast. It looks like sometimes it looks like he false started, like he
Hmm.
just went before the snap and he just glides out there.
I mean, he's one of the
So yeah,
fastest guys in the world, period.
yeah, period.
Period. Like, he is top 10 fastest in the world. It's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy that we get to just watch him every Sunday and toast people. And also, other side of this, the Pats, I mean, they came out flat against the Eagles. I think the Eagles should have won by a lot more, honestly, in that game. It was raining a little bit in Foxborough, so that always, bogs down games, makes them run the ball, not able
Yeah.
to throw it as freely as you would normally. I think this line should be more like 3.5. It's at 2, and I'll take it all the way up to 3.
Yeah, I agree with this this pick of the Dolphins. I also think that the Dolphins defense, even though they played a shootout last week, will be more than enough to handle Mac Jones and keep the Dolphins in bay. So
Who's Mac Jones
-2.
thrown to this year? Can you name one receiver? Because I can't.
I
Kendrick
watched
Bourne?
the game and I can't think of a receiver.
Yeah, I mean, who is he throwing to? I think Kendrick
don't know.
Bourne is a wide receiver.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne is definitely on the
Yes, that's the only one I know. Otherwise, he's
yeah.
just throwing to janitors. Yep. Dolphins -2, my second play. My third play, Thursday night game. I got the Eagles 6.5 over the Vikings. I mean, this Vikings team fell flat against the Buccaneers team. This is a rivalry game. The Eagles and the Vikings do not like each other, but the Eagles don't like the Vikings a little bit extra for some reason because of that one playoff matchup in Philly a couple of years ago.
The NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I'm not going to forget the Twitter videos I saw of Eagles fans heckling Vikings fans on the way out. They really don't like them, right? Kirk Cousins going in prime time Thursday night after he hasn't had any confidence yet this year. He's gonna shit himself. I think the Eagles win this by 14, 21, something like that. It's gonna be a blowout.
Yeah, so it's a solid pick. The Eagles offense will dominate against the Vikings. I do think that the Vikings last week was a little bit of a fluke, so I think they'll put up more points this week. That's why I'm staying away from the -7. Or it says at 6.5 now. I still wouldn't take it at 6.5. I would lean more like 5.
I was gonna take it at 7, but 6.5. I like that a lot more.
Yeah.
Give me that full touchdown. All right, next pick. I got the Jaguars +3 versus the Chiefs. What we saw against the Lions from Patrick Mahomes is he does not have a reliable weapon on that offense. Somebody that will reliably catch balls thrown at them. I mean, Kadarius Toney single-handedly lost the game last week against the Lions, and I think the Jaguars are a better team. They're wanting revenge for losing in the the divisional round last year.
Yeah.
And I think and it's a home game for the Jaguars. I think they're going to come out swinging. They're going to go up by a couple touchdowns, and Kansas City is going to struggle to recover. It's going to be a close game again, though.
This is one that I'm going to disagree with you on a little bit. I think week 2 coming off a loss that we definitely see a bounce back by Patrick Mahomes in that offense. They're going to get Travis Kelce back. Chris Jones is coming. So
Travis is big.
I'm gonna go Chiefs money line, and just avoid the points. But I think this is definitely one that we see the Chiefs pull out. And that defense looked good against the Lions, even in the loss.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think the Lions or the Jaguars have a better offense? Because I think it's Jaguars. Calvin Ridley looked like he was on a revenge tour.
That would be a good game, Lions versus Jaguars. I think I would just lean the Lions.
I think I would too. Yeah.
That offense, and that run game, and Jared Goff is,
he looks
went
good.
to the Super Bowl. He's capable. The Lions definitely won that trade at the end, right?
Oh, absolutely. The Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean,
I mean, Matthew
I
Stafford
guess they
got a
both
Super
win.
Bowl.
I got a Super Bowl, but yeah, the Lions really walked away with a good quarterback in a deal where they were mostly
Yeah.
taking a bad contract.
You could make art. I mean, today, if you talk about it today, the Lions won. If you talk about it last year, 2 years ago, Rams won.
Fair enough.
And my last pick on the board, Commanders Broncos under 38.5 points. This is a fade of two trash offenses that we saw. I'm going to call them trash because I thought the Broncos were going to turn a corner this year. I was raving on the Broncos. Sean Payton is going to get Russell Wilson's head turned around. But nah, Russell Wilson is like, I've lost hope, man. I've lost hope in Russell Wilson. He needs to show me something. The Broncos are not getting that win total with what I saw last week.
He was never meant to cook. It was never meant to be done.
I just hope they don't put him on another Nickelodeon game this week and he throws an interception while Patrick Starr is commentating him. Just embarrassing stuff. Yeah, last week Broncos put up 16 points. The Commanders put up 20 points. That put together is already 36. That's below the total. And I think both defenses are very strong.
And Commanders played the Cardinals.
Yeah. They're going to be playing strong defenses against each other. I could see this game ending like 13-6, bro. I could see this just being a touchdown and a few field goals, and that's it.
Yeah, I think I might tell you on this one.
They're just two terrible, terrible teams. And the Commanders, the only team that let me down in my spread bets last week. They couldn't get 7 points on the Cardinals. You told me, but I took them anyway. And
a lot of points for Sam Howell.
Yeah.
That's a lot of points.
He didn't look that bad, though.
He looked pretty good. He didn't look bad. He looked good. All right, so let's go over to my picks for the NFL. First up, I got the Chargers -3 versus the Titans. I think the Chargers are going to bounce back after losing that shootout to the Dolphins. Their defense should be a lot better, I'm thinking, against the Titans. And then we're just going to see Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler get the job done on offense.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a bounce back argument for both teams, but the Titans they don't have the receiving core, I think, to beat very many teams this year after they got rid of A.J. Brown and they got D-Hop. But D-Hop, I can't believe I'm saying this, he looked a little bit old last week. He looked a little bit out of it, right?
I forget the corner that did it, but when that interception, he got mossed. And when have you ever seen DeAndre Hopkins get mossed?
He's doing the mossing most of the time, and he got absolutely destroyed on that one. Titans got a little bit robbed there.
Yeah, and Ryan Tannehill didn't look good. If he has another 1 or 2 games like that, we're definitely going to see Will Levis early. But they threw 3 picks. Yeah, definitely going to have that. They got to have the ball to give to Derrick Henry. That's the offense. We just need time possession.
Exactly. Yep. And Derrick Henry split time with the running back that they drafted this year. I forgot his name, but on almost all third downs, I'm pretty sure the backup was in instead of Henry. Like on definite passing downs, I guess they like his blocking more.
That's a good decision. Derrick Henry isn't giving you much in the passing game.
No. Maybe he catches balls better than Derrick Henry, right? I never see Derrick Henry being thrown the ball. I'm going to be honest. They always just hand it off to him, and he just runs straight at the first guy that he sees and stiff arms him.
Must not do it well in practice.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. Next up, I got the Ravens, Cincy under 46. I think this one is a pretty clear bet for this week. We got the Ravens and Cincinnati that both have their problems coming into the season. Joe Burrow was out during training camp. Lamar Jackson is returning from an MCL. They also have a lot of other injuries on the Ravens. I think they're going to have 2 offensive linemen out. And Marlon Humphrey is questionable for the game. So I think that this is going to be a very, rugged AFC North game where we see a lot of running the ball, defense, and that 46 is going to hit.
Okay. I like your argument, but I think I'm on the other side of you on this one. They're playing in good weather, right? It's going to be 75 degrees and sunny in Cincinnati rather than the rainy whatever that was in Cleveland last week. I think the Bengals offense gets it going this week. They'll be able to put some points on the board. I could see them putting up 24 alone, and that's going to make it pretty tough. You're just going to hope the Ravens only get 21 there. And you hit your 45, get the under.
Yeah, I like that math. I think that's the type of game we could see, a 24-21 game.
Something like that. Okay. It's a little bit too close for me, but I still like the play.
Nice. Next, I have Green Bay -1.5 versus the Falcons. The Falcons won against the Panthers yesterday. I mean, on Sunday, but they didn't look good to me. You look over at their drives. They had one drive that had over, like 30 yards of possession. They scored the rest of their points on Bryce
turnovers,
Young's
right?
Turnovers being short fields. So still haven't seen Desmond Ridder run the offense. Jordan Love looked good against the Bears last week. That Green Bay defense looks solid. So I think I'm going to go with the Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't think 1.5 is enough here. I do think I'm going to stay away from the spread though and just take the money line since it's that close and teams aren't going to look to win by 2 versus 1, right?
Yeah.
But I do like Green Bay here as well. They showed much better things in week 1 than the Falcons did. Bijan looked good on that 1 touchdown catch. That's about it.
Yeah, that was great. Bijan did look good, but other than that, there was not much from Atlanta. Yet that game was mostly about the Panthers playing so bad.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. In my last pick, I have the Browns -2.5 over the Steelers. So I'm going to go on the fact that the Steelers got gashed by the 49ers on the run game. I think they left over 130 yards on the rushing. And the Browns was running through the Bengals last week. So I'm thinking they're going to take the same game plan against the Steelers and go get the W.
Browns are probably going to start 2-0 this year. With how that Steelers offense and defense looked last week. TJ Watt was the only bright spot, right? I think he had 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and a recovery in his first game. He's going to break that record. He had 3 in one game in his first game. Yeah. He's going to break the record. I saw he already went from
argument very clear in the first week, right?
I saw he's already moved from +800 down to +600 on Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, Micah played good, but not that.
Micah didn't have to do very much against that Giants offense. Let's be real. We're so flat.
Yeah, respectfully.
Yep. All right, that's all your picks, right? So we both had the Colts. You had the Chargers, the Ravens, Cincy under, Green Bay -1.5, and the Browns 2.5-point favorites. I had the Dolphins 2-point favorites against the Patriots, Eagles 6.5-point favorites Thursday night with the Vikings, Jaguars 3-point underdogs with the Chiefs, and I like that even more that it's a 3-point underdog, right? If the Chiefs win, I think they'll probably only win by 1 to 3.
Yeah, that's why it's not a bad pick. I think it'll be a close game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a definite Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs sneak out a win here.
I could see it. Yeah.
Is it going to be less than a field goal? That's the question.
We'll see. Yeah. I'll take the bet. And last, the Commanders, Broncos under 38.5 to round out the football plays. All right, let's get moving on to college. My first play, we alluded to it earlier, the Minnesota Golden Gophers +7.5 against the North Carolina Tar Heels. Last week I watched that UNC game when I had my 9 games on at once, right? They went to overtime against Appalachian State at home, man. I think
Yeah,
Minnesota's better than Appalachian State.
I too think that Minnesota is better than Appalachian State, but I don't know if Minnesota can score. And I do think maybe Minnesota goes in and slows down Drake May and a UNC offense, but how slow?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, 7 is a lot of points. I think I might tell you that just on the value.
Seven and
Um,
a half. So the touchdown gets you a win here.
yeah,
It's just too many points for a Big Ten team, man. I mean, you saw what happened with Northwestern last week. That was a late ad that only Discord got last week. But, I mean, Northwestern they opened as a 1-point underdog to UTEP, who's a borderline FCS team, right? They're like a bottom feeder FBS team. I just couldn't believe my eyes. It moved all the way to -1 for Northwestern. They ended up winning by 28. Easy.
for cash.
Easy cash. But yeah, next next up on the board, I thought I had a play based on that terrible showing, but I have Washington -16.5 versus Michigan State. I mean, Mel Tucker, come on, dude. What are you doing, man?
Yeah,
That's some out of control stuff. I mean, if you're a player playing for a coach that gets caught doing stuff like that and suspended, he's not your coach. There has to be some sort of like motivation factor coming into play, and you've got to be questioning what you're doing there at the program. I'm sure if he does lose his job over this, so many kids are going to transfer out. So I don't know
absolutely.
I don't know their commitment levels to this game this weekend.
Exactly. And after I read the news, I was just thinking like, what is going on? It's like Michigan State also had the Larry Nasser, issue. Like,
Dude, yeah,
what is the
what are they
screening over
doing?
there? What's the screening? So yeah, I can see that getting into the players and a good team like Washington coming in and really just
Yeah, I
beating them
mean
down.
the Indiana transfer quarterback there, he's killing it this year. I don't think he has an interception. He has multiple touchdowns every game, and Washington's blown out everybody they've played. They're ranked just one below Penn State. I think they're 8th, and
Yeah,
they look good. I think they'll win by 25-30 against Michigan, somewhere in that range. Michigan State, sorry.
yeah, we got
They're
you.
not beating Michigan. And last on my board, I cannot believe I am putting money on this team. Rutgers -6.5 against Virginia Tech. This is because when the Marshall game went into a rain delay, it showed me the Virginia Tech Purdue game last week, and Purdue looked really bad, really, really bad, and Virginia Tech lost to them, right? And so far, Rutgers has shown me, this is where I was going with that Northwestern analogy, whatever. Rutgers easily beat Northwestern, right?
Yeah,
Made them so undervalued that they were only -1 against an FCS school. I think Rutgers comes in here and beats Virginia Tech by a couple touchdowns and continues their dominance this year. I don't know what they did. They've kind of turned something around. They're getting wins.
yeah. I mean, maybe that Big Ten prestige is finally moving over to them. They're able to get better recruits. Maybe they got some new facilities. They're tired of being the little brother of the conference.
For real. So yeah, those are my plays. What do you got?
Gotcha. Okay, I got LSU -9.5 over Mississippi State. Mississippi State's coming off a win, but they needed 4 interceptions against a bad team. I forget who they played. So I'm going to take LSU because they're not going to give you 4 interception. And even though the LSU lost to Florida State, I think they're still a great team. They put up 81 against Grambling last week, so I think this is the week they
Oof.
get back on track and go into Mississippi State and beat them.
Yeah, I could easily see that. I mean, needing 4 interceptions to beat Arizona in overtime that's tough.
Yeah,
And LSU's trying to make up for that week 1 loss against Florida State. they'll come out here against SEC competition trying to look good. I like that pick.
Next up, we got PSU and Illinois over 48.5. It really took a lot of courage for me to put money on this on this
PTSD,
bet.
man.
After that 7 overtime game against Illinois 2 years ago. Well, but I mean, the way I rationalized it was if we go to overtime again, they're definitely getting 48 points, right? If we go to 7 overtimes again.
I remember I didn't watch that game. I just remember looking at my phone and seeing 7 overtimes and then still seeing that the score went under and I had an over ticket in my pocket.
Oh my God.
That was the worst feeling of all time, man. Like we had the longest game. Was that? No, it wasn't the longest game in college football history, but I think it was the second longest in terms of overtimes, right?
I think it might be. I think it might have been the longest because
It might have been
well, yeah, the new
the
overtime
2-point
rules.
conversion one, right?
Yeah,
Longest game ever, and it went under. How crazy is that?
that's ridiculous. Yeah, we
So
did
I
struggle
just
to score that day.
yeah, but the Penn State offense this year looks really strong, man. Drew Alar is starting to look better. He put up easy points last week. I mean, I think we scored a touchdown on 7 of our first 8 drives last week. It just looked too easy.
We have home run hitters all over the field. Any play could be a touchdown. Nick Singleton definitely has to be one of the, if not the number one, if maybe top 3 running back coming out in a year. I think he'll be drafted higher than Bijan or have that type of hype.
You think so?
Yeah, he's
like Saquon type, right? Saquon type hype.
Exactly. Yeah. If we can get some wins, get us into the playoff, maybe we can get him a Heisman.
Yeah, honestly. But Penn State, this might be the year that they make noise, finally get into the college football playoff. I'm fine with that. I don't need them to win it. I am fine with Penn State just making the playoff. I want to see them. I want to see my school participate,
Yeah, let's just get in. Let's just get in. Because once you get in, anything can happen.
Anything can happen, right?
Yeah. So for my last pick, I have Bama minus 31.5 versus South Florida. I saw an interesting betting trend on this. South Florida is about 46% against the spread when they are the home underdog. So we already got a little edge with Bama coming in. And then I just think Bama is gonna bounce back.
They're mad.
They still have a great roster, even outside of that Texas game. And South Florida also lost to Western Kentucky by 17. Who is this week the underdog in the Ohio State game by 27. So
yeah, I'm with you here. I think Bama is easily going to win this game by somewhere around 4. It could be like a 55-3 Bama score that we see,
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I'm going to tail you on this one. I like this pick. All right, that rounds out our college picks. You have LSU spread over Mississippi State, the PSU Illinois over, and the Bama spread over South Florida. I have Washington spread over Michigan State, Minnesota spread taking the points against UNC, and the Rutgers favorites against Virginia Tech. Moving on to our parlays. Rob, you want to talk us through your parlays?
Yes. Okay. So I got a 3-leg parlay. This week I'm going to start off the parlay, grabbing some value from out in Europe. I'm going to go with Brighton FC money line versus Man United. This Brighton team has just been phenomenal in the attacking play. I think they have 2 goals in every game so far in the first 4 games. And Man United has just been terrible on and off the field. They're not going to have Anthony because of domestic violence allegations.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. We got Sancho, who's been removed from the team because he doesn't like the coach. They had a they had a Burnley against closed doors match and lost. Burnley, who just got promoted, they
Oh
lost
no.
4-3.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'm looking at the table right now. Brighton has the most goals scored this year over Man City and Tottenham, Liverpool, all of them. Uh Man United, 2 wins, 2 losses.
yeah.
And who are their wins against? Wolves
They have one
and
win. Yeah,
Nottingham
Wolves.
Forest. I don't know if I can trust them. Yeah, I like that pick, Rob. Last time you gave me, I forgot what soccer play you gave me. It was Liverpool money line, which was plus money, and somebody else money line, which was plus money. I didn't tell you, and it hit a parlay of two
Yeah,
plus money. And
Liverpool
I
and
was like, this
Villa.
guy's
That was a
crazy.
good one.
Villa, yeah, it was a good play. I think I like this Brighton FC. I think I might just take him straight up plus 220. That's a lot of value.
Yeah. And then we're gonna go with Florida State minus 26.5 against Boston College, at the minus 110.
Ride the
Florida
train.
State's been my cash cow. I'm just gonna keep riding that until it breaks.
Yep.
Um,
Same as me last year. I promise you before that kickoff, some part of me is going to put at least a unit down on Florida State just because they've won me so much money over the last 2 years.
yeah.
Incredibly,
And
incredibly
then
well done.
for my third pick, we got the Dolphins minus 2. We already covered this. The Dolphins offense was amazing last week. There's not enough on the Patriots to really combat it. So that's going to be the last leg of my parlay. And that is for a total of 1042.
1042. I like it. Definitely tailing you on Brighton and Florida State, and I already have Dolphins as a pick, so I agree with every single one of those.
Nice. Let's get into your plus 1000.
Okay, yeah, my plus 1000, I just went with all football. I got the Packers money line against the Falcons at minus 124. We talked about that earlier.
Okay.
I think just a much better team. We also talked about how terrible the Panthers looked in the first game. Now they have to play a better defense in the Saints than the Falcons and a better offense in the Saints than the Falcons. Like I said, this Saints team will probably sweep this division. I think they actually go 6-0. Saints
We'll
money
see.
line on the card, minus 174. Browns money line against the Steelers. We talked a lot about this one as well. The Steelers just look terrible. Penn State minus 14.5 against Illinois. Penn State is another cash cow for me, right? They cover both spreads so far this year. They covered a lot last year. I think they were 9-3 against the spread overall. Ride it till it dies, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure the spread was somewhere around here against Illinois last year, and we did not cover it, right? I think this year we go there and we get it done. Much better team.
Yeah, much better team. They got to do it for us just to
Don't
get
let
that
me down.
stain over time game off of us.
Yeah. And last, I got Kansas State money line against Missouri. I mean, I don't see anything in Missouri that tells me that they could beat this Kansas State team who picked up a lot of steam last year and has carried it into this year. I think they continue it, and that puts us at plus 1124 for that parlay total, get us over 1,000. And we each have one more parlay here. My next one is I decided to go with just the Thursday night football same game parlay, right? Since a lot of the anytime touchdown lines were not up yet. I took Devonta. This is basically, I think Devonta Smith's going to go off, right? I think they're going to throw it deep a little bit on this Vikings secondary, and Devonta Smith's going to go off. He's going to get an anytime touchdown. He's going to get over 60 receiving yards easily, catching 1 or 2 deep ones. Jalen Hurts is going to throw him a touchdown, then throw somebody else a touchdown, whether it be someone out of the backfield, A.J. Brown, whoever. And the Eagles alternate spread 3.5. I think that's a little bit more manageable than the 6.5 that we're seeing.
Yeah, I really like this same game. I like this parlay. We definitely could see a Devontae Smith touchdown, especially as teams, try to lock in with AJ Brown. 3.5. I would smash. Yeah, that's an easy line for them.
It's plus 500. I have a risk-free FanDuel same game parlay for Thursday night football. Add that plus a unit on it and see what happens.
I really like this play. And for mine, I'm going to go with a Premier League parlay. We have West Ham on a double chance versus Manchester City. I think this is a game where Manchester City may sleep on West Ham a little bit with Champions League coming up on in that same week. 2 games in 3 days. Plus, we have a little bit of a storyline with Lucas Paqueta, who was supposed to move over to Man City. So this was going to be a revenge game to make them really want to come back and go get him.
Mm-hmm.
And I generally, West Ham has been playing really well in the first 4 games. Their 2 strikers up front have scored in every game, and they're just really good on the counterattack.
This is good. That's good. Can you explain to some of us who don't know what a double chance is, what it is?
Okay, so the double chance is you get both the win for West Ham and the tie. So if the match is West Ham win or the tie, you cash out on the bet.
Wow, and you're still getting plus 165. That's just the Man City effect.
Yeah, Man City, and it's a hard to go out there and beat the treble winners. But this week, I think West Ham is going to do it. On average, we get about, I think there's 10 games that Man City either draws or losses. And I think this definitely be one of those games that we see Man City lose.
All right. I can see it too. I'm tailing you on this no matter what after I didn't tail the last one.
Yeah. Also, a great value is to take the West Ham straight up. It's plus 550. I'm definitely going to throw a unit on that.
Yeah, at least a half unit or something. 550.
Yeah.
For just a 90-minute soccer game? Anything can happen.
Exactly. But it is Man City.
It's true.
And for my second leg of this parlay, I'm going with Brentford on double chance versus Newcastle. This is another team that'll be in Champions League. So they're going to have to work around their squad to do the 2 games in 3 games. And Brentford has just been a thorn in a lot of these top clubs' side. They have 3 draws. So I think they'll go out there and get another one against Newcastle. And even though Newcastle has been one of the more hyped teams for the Premier League this year, they really haven't looked well in their last couple of games. That outside of that first game against Aston Villa where they put up 5.
Yep. They've
as
lost
you
3
mentioned
straight,
earlier,
right? Yeah, they have.
lost 3 straight. As you mentioned, that Liverpool game a couple weeks ago, they were up. They were up in that game.
Yeah, they lost to 10 men.
Yeah, lost to 10 men within the last 10 minutes. So they're definitely not a team that has a lot of composure. So I'm going Brentford.
I like this. I'm definitely going to tail you on this one after the last one, right? Rob knows his Premier League soccer.
I'll give you plus 536.
Nice. So we each made a plus 1,000 and a plus 500, and we didn't even try to match each other, right? We just said make any kind of parlay. All right. Moving on, last but not least, the Sweaty 16. I'll go through every game that we have similar, and then we'll talk about the ones that we have different, right? And we only have 3 different this week. The ones that we have the same, we both have the Eagles over the Vikings. We both have the Packers over the Falcons. The Lions, who were the Lions playing this week?
Seahawks.
Yep. Seahawks looked flat last week. We got the Bills winning, the Chargers, Colts, 49ers, Giants, Cowboys, Broncos, Saints, Dolphins, and Browns, right? Those are all the ones we have similar. And then I have the Buccaneers winning while you have the Bears winning, Rob. We got to talk about, did you see Chase Claypool's highlights from that Bears game?
I did not.
He looks like, when we're done with this, yeah, exactly. There wasn't many because he put in 0 effort. Straight up, he was just walking around, kind of like walking through the motions, not even throwing blocks. The Bears are considering marking him as inactive because of his performance last week. He literally looked like he just didn't want to be there.
Yeah, the Bears did have a rough day last week. But I just gotta believe that the Buccaneers are gonna regress in week 2, and then we'll see the Bears win that game. Justin Fields is still capable out there to make plays. Um, it's crazy. The coach came out after the game saying that he has to play better. But every moment that I seen the Bears game, it was Justin Fields versus another 11.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, same thing as when Matt Nagy was there. Not much has changed, it seems. But
I still got them against the Bucks.
You got them against the Bucks. Yeah, I think Baker Mayfield pulls another one out of his hat. Well, we'll see. And the next one we have different. I have my Bengals, kind of a homer pick, but we do own the Ravens, especially at home, right? I think they bounce back after a terrible showing in week 1, just to show, hey, we're still the team that won the AFC Championship 2 years ago and went to the AFC Championship last year, right? And come out and beat the Ravens at home. You have Lamar Jackson and the Ravens?
Yeah, I think last week Lamar threw off a little rust. This week we're going to see more of that passing offense that we've been hearing about. Odell knocked off his rust too. So I think we're going to see the Ravens win a close game.
All right. I could see it going either way. But our last one, we have, again, a disagreement on a Chiefs game. Last week I got the better of us, but this week I got the Jaguars. You have the Chiefs again. I think they start the season 0-2. I really do. And then they win the next 3.
Nah, they'll get Travis Kelce back. Getting Chris Jones back. They're going to bounce back in week 2. We won't see Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. We won't see them go 0-2.
All right. We'll see. Both of our parlays pay out well over 100 plus 100,000. It's crazy amounts. I'll put them on the screen, but yeah, it's if they hit. Last week, I think I missed 6, right? Which isn't bad for an NFL opening week out of 16 games. I think 10.
I didn't look after losing the Lions. So
yeah, there were some surprises and then some letdowns. Like the Broncos just really, really pissed me off last week. That was.
Told you not to believe. Sean Payton's good, but he's also old. It's another John Gruden bringing.
That's true.
Someone that kind of left the game back into it.
That's true. Did you see how he started the game though with the onside kick that they almost recovered? Classic Sean Payton, and they almost fell for it.
It just brought me back to
the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that
immediately.
Super Bowl, Hank Basket, ball in his hands, and fumbles the onside kick.
Yep.
Close to the Super Bowl. Close to the Super Bowl.
It really did. Yeah. That's a sad day for Colts fans. Anyway. That rounds out the show. Rob, do you have anything else for the people?
Looking in early on Champions League next week, I like AC Milan against Newcastle on the money line. I think that was at plus 165. Haven't quite locked that one in yet.
Plus money. Wow.
Plus money.
Okay. I like that as
Christian
well.
Pulisic over on AC Milan.
So
Support
our American boy. Like the only one in international soccer. It's kind of sad. But yep, that's it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. All the socials are in the description below. We will see you next week after some more football.
Peace.